Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Place Your Trades Network, and welcome to Finding Alpha Trends. I'm Anthony Crudele, and today my co-host is Brian Shannon, and we are going to talk about today using the VWAP to trade event contracts. Is there anyone better than Brian Shannon to talk about using the VWAP? And we're going to talk about how we could use those to trade using the event contracts. Today's podcast is brought to you by TradeVate, which has built a custom app dedicated to trading event contracts. This is what we're all using at Place Your Trades. Click on that link in the chat. You can see that down below in the description to start using the TradeVate web app for free, where you could follow along and make your own picks. A lot of people are talking about these event contracts right now. This is a great way to get started and to look and see what they look like. And then from there, you can go and start trading them like we all are at Place Your Trades. And make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and set notifications so you never miss one of our podcasts. We're on for the Place Your Trades Network Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 9:30. That's every day, Monday through Friday, all talking about event contracts. And don't forget J&J, which has just become a massively popular show, which is on Sunday nights on the Globex Open from 6 to 7. So make sure you like and subscribe and never miss an episode of the Place Your Trades podcast. Now I'm going to bring in my brother from another mother. Let's talk with Brian Shannon here. Brian, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And I want to talk a little bit about the event contracts before we get into going over using the VWAP to trade event contracts. What do you like the most about trading event contracts?
Well, the ease of doing it, and it's just, again, it's a simple yes, no. I'll tell you, I'm kind of still feeling my way around these, even after what has it been 3-4 weeks. I started out trading them real conservatively, did well. Then I don't know why this happens sometimes in these types of things. I started treating them as a bet. And fortunately, at least yesterday, I hedged when I realized it wasn't going to be a winner, rather than riding it all the way into the dirt. But so the yes no is good for that. But it's just as simple. You pick a number and you say, is it going to close above or below this number? So it's small money, at least for me so far, until I really get my confidence in these. And I think I'm making mistakes that for people out there who are kind of wondering what these things are, so I can make these mistakes and tell you how to trade them and how to use them most properly for your position size and risk tolerance.
Yeah, I think you nailed it when you said, you could trade small to start and then you could trade really small. This is so different than your regular future or option on future, because you can come in and you can make a trade for as little as 25 cents. I actually bought some trades the other day for 25 cents
Really?
that actually ended up coming into the money.
Oh,
And it was just a crazy wild day. I just kind of just did it. I said, well, you know what? This is so much volatility. Let me trade the outsides a little bit here with them. But you could also trade as big as you want with these. And what I like about them that I think is pretty cool that I'm getting used to more and more is that I'm trading a lot of the times just using them as support and resistance. So if I like an area to hold above, or and I like an area to stay below, so I almost have the range boxed out, then I'll just buy the yeses at a certain area, and I'll buy the nos because I just think we're going to close within that range. So that's something that I've been looking at a little bit more. And there's just so many different strategies and stuff you can do. But I think for the newbie trader, it's a great way to come in and be able to trade futures with a very low dollar amount. And you could go in there and you could learn about trading futures and trading your strategy. I think it's become a tool that even for me and you and several other people, for experienced traders, a tool that we're even using as well.
yeah. When you say that, trading around it, a strike basically, it seems like some of them have been kind of expiring right near those contract levels. Like, the 38.50 yesterday, I was a no against it, so those didn't work out. But they kind of tend to hover around one of those key strikes, like you said. And I think your strategy is, it's like any type of trading, right, Anthony? There's all kinds of different ways to get to the finish line. You can, strangle, them. You can, I don't even know if that's the right word because I don't do strangles.
Anne
But
Marie's been doing the strangle. She puts out a tweet every night. It's a way that I never even thought about doing it. But yeah, the strangle is what is basically it's buying the out of the money no and the out of the money yes, right? And then when one comes into play, you take that other half off. And I think that's how she's been doing it, right?
okay, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
again, there's so many different ways to the finish line here. The last couple contracts, I found myself, falling flat on my face before the finish line. But hopefully, we can fix that here today.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to go right now. We're going to get right into it as we do every morning here on the Place Your Trades Network. And we're going to get into talking about some picks and ways that you can trade using event contracts. Before I do, we've got a bunch of people in here. We've got people on Twitter. We've got people in the chat. Let me know if you guys use the VWAP, because this man has really changed the way I looked at technical analysis. I've talked about this with you many times before, Bri. Let us know in the chat, yes or no, if you use the VWAP. Because I really want to see if people are really using this tool, because it really has become one of my favorite tools. And like I said to you in the Futures Radio Show podcast before, I've had so many people that I've come across over the years show me all different sorts of indicators and different things, and no one has gotten into my blood like you with the VWAP. And now everything you do, I'm always watching, because it is such a great indicator, and I think it's a great indicator for technicians or for people that like to look at charts to help you trade event contracts. So let's pull up your screen, Bri, and let's talk a little bit about some of the things you're seeing on the VWAP, and then we'll talk about some strikes that maybe you're interested in today.
Yeah, perfect. So there we've got them up, and what we've got on the left, of course, is Trade of 8, and these are the contracts. We'll get to those in a minute. And on the right is the the chart here, and I've got the E-mini up right now. This is a 15-minute time frame, so you can see I've got a number of these lines on here. Let's just consolidate this and make it look a little bit cleaner. And yesterday, so this was off of this low. Yesterday, I was kind of using that as support, and I stupidly thought that we were going to come down to it as we were extended late in the day. And like I said, rode those into the dirt. So I think, though, looking at today, so far this morning, that volume weighted average price off of this low right here has been providing some resistance today. So, we've got, we had some earnings last night from Microsoft, down 17 points right now. Google down 6%. So they're both down. Google and Microsoft are both down 6%. And I think that's going to be a drag on the market overall. I don't think it's going to do it right from the open. So what I'm hoping to see here early on is maybe we rally up towards this level, 38.43, 38.45 or so. And then I want to buy the no for 38.50, possibly the 38.25. So let's just take a look at those contracts and look at the strike list. So right now the 38.50s are offered no at 12.50. I'd like to get those closer to to par, maybe like 10 and a quarter or something like that. I don't think we're going to see a huge downside flush, simply because when you look at this, let's look at that on a 30-minute time frame. We've still got some strong momentum here, and you can see where this is the volume weighted average price off of the recent low. I mean, if we're to come down all the way to there, I think it's highly unlikely. But I mean, if someone was going to try to, take the out of the monies, maybe on a rally, you go with those 3800s. If you could get them for a quarter, like you did yesterday, Anthony, I mean, I doubt you could get them that cheap, but that would be a fun little thing to do just for a bet. Problem is we're in earnings season. We've got a ton of earnings. We have two that are affecting the market this morning, Microsoft and Google, but things can change on a dime here. And just recently, we have some good momentum. So I'm not expecting a big range. The S&P rallied almost precisely on when I look at the SPY chart, I look at that and see that we basically nailed the 50-day moving average and the volume weighted average price anchor to the June low. So that tells me it was a level of interest where we had the potential for supply. It seems as though we're getting a little bit of supply, but it's not doing damage to the chart. So I don't want to go personally too far out of the money. I think we're going to have maybe even an inside day today. You know, we had a pretty good range yesterday. If we, you know, kind of just distribute a little bit today, that wouldn't be a bad thing. But I don't think we're going to do major damage. So my point is that the 3850s, if I could get these around 10 or so, you know, maybe 10 and a half, I think that would be a good bet, you know, up near this volume weighted average price. That would put them at about 10 or so. And then I would look to cover part of them if they were to get down to like 36.20, because then they'd be at, you know, 15, 16, and then maybe ride the rest of them into the close to expire. So that's you know how I'm looking at the S&P. I see Penny Lane wants me to take a look at copper. I don't even know the symbol for copper.
Penny loves copper. It's
What,
H. I don't know which platform. If you're on TradingView, I think it's HG.
HG. There it is, copper futures. So let's take a look at them. I mean, I don't. So you know, we've got some strong ones. Let's look at the daily chart to start out. And I got to resize that for some reason.
You know, I had a couple of good winners last week off of Penny and Pax on the Friday show. From Pax was bullish copper, and so I've actually been dabbling a little bit with the copper since then. I've given a little bit of it back, but
that's
interesting market. It's a market. I think, Brian, what's interesting about. Okay, let's talk about this for a quick second. You and I don't trade copper. But in order to get exposure for a very small dollar amount, you could use these event contracts. I mean, that's the other thing I look at. I mean, you could trade copper here where I would probably not be a copper futures trader.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a pretty good trend here this morning. And so what I did on this chart here, this is a daily chart on the right. What I want to do with the anchored VWAP is look at important highs. So I just clicked one there. So we're going blind, and this is, you know, people say, well, where do you anchor a VWAP? So this was an important high because it preceded this major sell-off. And you can see that that anchored VWAP has provided resistance several times. I mean, you just can't make that stuff up. It was perfectly sold into. So the other important level is this low. So we'll anchor one there, and we'll make that one green just because it's, I guess I made that one green. Anyway, we'll put one here, and then we'll put one here. This is an important low just recently as well. This is a higher low. So, you know, we're kind of looking like it's in the middle of the range here. It rallied pretty strong this morning to get there, you know, from 338 to 350, right into the middle of the range where I would expect for it to kind of slow down. So if I was a betting man, I would say, where have we come from just here this morning, 338? Where do we have the potential to go before we're likely to find some supply that might slow it down? It looks like right here to me. So I would be looking at maybe taking this no on the 350. It's 1275 here. And I think I wouldn't hold it to expiration, but I would trade it. So, you know, the thing about these contracts, one thing that I did learn the hard way is I did this with oil in the aftermarket, you know, outside of, you know, NYSE. I consider anything outside of NYSE hours, you know, aftermarket, pre-market. And I went in there with a market order and didn't realize what the spread was. So I would imagine that it's kind of the same here in copper, that there's a spread. So if I was to go in and buy this no, I would definitely want to you know, adjust this and say, you know, let's just do it for let's just do 5 of them for the hell of it, and see. Oh, wrong keyboard. That's why. Let's do 5 of these for the no, and see what happens if we get a fill at that price. So it's working at 1150. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe we're onto something, but if we're going to talk about it, we might as well trade it. If I have an opinion, is the way I see it.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, it's a good idea. Let's go back to the S&P. I want to talk a little strategy before the open today because I'm actually going to go over to mine now, and I'm going to pull up. So I'm going to pull up here, and let's move us over to the side. And I think, okay, yeah. So let's take a look at this. So one thing that I got from you today is that it looks like a bearish day. So you come into the day and you see earnings that are impacted the markets that are going to probably keep a little pressure on the S&P lower, right, Brian? That was one of the first things we talked about, right?
Yeah, yeah. They
Um,
came in they came into that 50-day moving average. So
exactly, like you said, from the SPY. So you SPY traders can come in and look at that and say, okay, I've got some earnings, I've got some this. And if you're looking at it on the future side, you say, okay, well, how do I use this? Now you said that the 3850s, I remember you were saying
yep,
that, look at them to get them around 10. Well, some people are going to say, well, why do I have to just sit here and wait to watch it? No, it goes back to here. When you click on that no, so let me go back here. You click on the no, and then let's just say we go in for $10, right? You can go in. I'll probably just go in at 10 and a quarter, and I'll try to
yeah,
buy 10, right? Something like that. And I'll say, look, I think that if it gets there, and so I'm going to place that order. So I don't have to be there perfectly for it. So this is what Brian's talking about as if you like an area for resistance, you don't have to buy the yes or the no right away. You can actually work it because and the reason why he would say around $10, just so most people understand, is because right when a market's trading at that strike, most likely the yes is 10, the no is 10. And remember, everything pays out $20, and it tells you here. So if you're right, your potential profit's $97.50, and your win. So that's going to pay you $200 back because obviously it costs me to put the order in, right? So then another thing I would look at is once you're into a position. So let me see. I know that I have one position on right now. Actually, I think it might be in NASDAQ. I did one last night. Which one did I do? I think it was 11.5 actually. Yeah. So then it'll show you right here. So last night I bought these at 5 at 12.75 because I'm like, you know what? Maybe we could start to come back down. So when you go on here, you actually can see your position, just so you know as well. So you could see them on there. And then there's a time where you could go click on that position. When you go back, you'll see like this down in here. You'll click on here, it'll take you to your position, and then you could decrease or increase your position, and you can cover them just like you would be trading, the regular futures or options. But everything goes to the settlement. So if you like the 3850s, like maybe I get filled on those at 10 and a quarter, we talked about here with Bry. If I get those, and it's just like, let's just say towards the end of the day, it's around 3,800. You don't need to cover them. You let them expire and take the full amount. But sometimes you're going to get these, like Brian said, if it were to be right around 38.50 towards the close, right, Brian, then we would probably maybe just want to take them off because you don't want to take the chance of it not closing above or below it. That's where it gets into where you have to use a little bit of your trader mind, or even for a newbie trader, you understand that if it's above or below that strike, and it's near that on settlement, that you want to cover it. And settlement comes at the on the cash close, which you could see here, 6 hours and 40 minutes left. So it's just something to keep in mind.
and that's an important thing. I think you just said there too. That 640. When I go back, I forgot to look actually. When does this copper market close? Because I believe, yeah, so 3 hours and 40 minutes. So if I'm thinking of this as a stock, I've got to be aware that no, it doesn't close at 4 p.m. Eastern. It closes, well before that. So in 3 hours and 40 minutes, this market closes. So I've got to pay attention to it, uh, you know, a little bit more closely.
Yeah, exactly. And it tells you what's great about the Trade of 8 app. Like I said, you guys can go get this app for free. The link is right there down below. Go in there and check it out. This is what we're all using. Very self-explanatory. And you go and make your own decision if these event contracts are for you or not. We've all been starting to trade them. Everyone keeps asking us about them. And a great way to do it is just to go in there, take a look at them, see the strikes. And I think especially because you got a lot of people that follow you, Bri, that are in SPY or QQQ, you can get into futures. And really, I think this is options with training wheels is one of the things that we've talked about internally, is that this is a daily option, and it gives you the ability to test your strategies for low dollar amounts. Or if you get a little bigger, you could trade them as big as you want. You can buy, if I wanted to come over here, I can buy as many of these as I up to 250 as I wanted. So you can see that the numbers, if you really like the strong area, they could get pretty big. So it's a small product and a product that can get pretty big as well. So, Bri, as usual, thank you so much for coming in today. I like your thoughts on the S&P coming in, why we're looking at potentially a bearish day, and using those anchor VWAPs. I think it's such a simple strategy to come in and trade event contracts because visually we saw where you anchored them from. You can see the resistance, you can see the support, you can pick a level that you think is going to hold or not hold, and you kind of have that range boxed out, which I think is really key, especially for newer traders or even advanced traders. And you could visually see what you think the day may do.
Right on.
And tell everybody where they could go to get more information about learning how to use the VWAP from you. And of course, talk about the book.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I've got a book coming out on it, and that'll be out in January. So, man, Anthony, I cut and cut and cut pages out of this thing, but it's going to be a tome. It's close to 300 uh, pages, but there's over 100 color charts in it. So it'll be out in January. But right now, follow me on Twitter. I put stuff on the VWAP every single day. And my pinned tweet is got a good little article and a video where you can, kind of brush up on it if it's a new concept for you.
Yeah, everybody, you know how I feel about Brian. I've already talked about that, and I think you learn the basics about the VWAP. I think even for a newer trader, you can come in and really understand, a simple strategy that it's very effective. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and some of the things I've learned from Brian have helped me tremendously. And I think using the event contracts to test that is a great way. So everybody, make sure once again, click the link. I see a bunch of you in here. I see more of you in here that have clicked the subscribe link, and don't ever miss an episode of the Place Your Trades podcast. Like I said, we're on Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 9:30. And then don't forget Sunday nights, which is also where we're on for that Globex Open. And Julia and Jay, they do a great job there. And Bri, thank you again it's always great to hear what you think about the day. And traders, trade well today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow morning.
Thanks.